Never ever be surprised.
The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We have had a criminal-imposed curfew in recent times. So says a politician. We also have our question of the day, and that is, why are murders no longer an issue in St. Lucia? Stop this bickering and focus on more important things, so says another individual. And we have some music to play for you. All that and more between now and 2 o'clock this afternoon on NewsSpin. The broadcast is being aired on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube as well as the NewsSpin Facebook page. In a bit, I'll be hearing from you via your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Kimani will be going through some of your comments. We'll also be hearing from the head of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, saying thank you to Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean for a particular reason. And he addresses a particular measure which the World Health Organization is proposing in the aftermath of COVID-19. Quite controversial. We have had a criminal-imposed curfew in recent times. That's a unique way of looking at the crime problem in St. Lucia and the impact that it has had on citizens. Whether people who are afraid to go out to participate in various social activities, businesses having to curtail their operations or close them altogether for a particular period because of an outbreak of violent crime. Just talk to the business people over in the South. When you had this serious outbreak of violence, you've heard about an outbreak of COVID-19, which necessitated health officials coming up with various recommendations and policies and guidelines and making adjustments. This happened just a few months ago in St. Lucia in the south of the island, only that the recommendations were coming from law enforcement. And you had people scurrying, people running for cover, people remaining indoors indefinitely. And you could only imagine that those people, when those things happen, would be without the necessities, the right supply, quantity of food items and other things that they need to survive on a daily basis. We clearly have gone through a lot over the last several years in St. Lucia. Citizens have been called upon to make sacrifice after sacrifice. We as a people, we have been very, very, very tolerant. And that accounts for something, maybe it is a situation where we don't believe that our rights should be protected. We do not believe that we are directors and we have people who are our employees and they must account to us. The fact that we have had a criminal-imposed curfew in recent times, it is because there's been a serious dereliction of duty on the part of those people who are charged, who are responsible for maintaining law and order in this country. That is their responsibility. That is why they are being paid, in some cases, huge salaries. And I will never cease making reference to the fact that amidst this unfortunate experience that we have been going through, we have a prime minister. We have had prime ministers before him. We have a national security minister, and we have had national security ministers before him, and home affairs ministers to look after our interests. But you know what? As if there is this void, there's this vacuum, and those people take no responsibility when things are not going according to how they should be undertaken in the first place, or how they should be in the first place. And somebody has to take responsibility for what is happening in our country. I think some people are surprised when they wake up in the morning and they do not hear that there's been a homicide. It's not that we want it to happen, but we are surprised. You mean there's been a lull? And it is not sometimes because of action taken by law enforcement or the government. It's because the criminals are on a sabbatical. They are on vacation. They have taken a break. They're just too tired. And they will return at some point in time. It need not be that way. So we have to be in a state of a situation where we are in charge as a people. We determine whether criminal elements will have their way or not. And it is because those in authority have decided that they should take a break themselves from their own responsibilities and their duties. That is why we continue to have a serious crime problem on our hands. And this is definitely taking its toll in terms of economic development, in terms of people wanting to go out and recreate and have a good time with friends, family members, etc. And no kind of curfew is imposed on criminal elements. Even when the suspects, they are arrested and they're in police custody, as was the case this week at Babonneau, the Babonneau police station, they escape. Let us hear from former MP for Grosley, who is the current PRO of the opposition United Workers' Party, Leonard Spider-Matut, who says, we have had a criminal-imposed curfew in recent times, speaking yesterday during a mid-morning press conference of the UWP.
We have had a criminal-imposed curfew on St. Lucians in recent times. Because when we are forced to close down businesses, when we are forced to close schools, when people are forced to vacate a community by a certain time, That is a curfew in effect imposed by criminals on law-abiding citizens. We have had a criminal imposed curfew on St. Lucians in recent times. Because when we are forced to close down businesses, when we are forced to close schools, when people are forced to vacate a community by a certain time, that is a curfew in effect imposed by criminals on law-abiding citizens.
Leonard Spider Montoot speaking yesterday during a mid-morning press conference of the opposition United Workers' Party. He was once a minister, government minister, senior government minister, part of a United Workers' Party administration. Crime was very much an issue when Mr. Montoot was in that previous United Workers' Party administration. So let us not give the impression that he is never in a position to deal with that scourge. I think if he is honest, he will also tell you that is not, the evidence is that our politicians, our governments have not been able to effectively deal with the crime problem. And they all have been accusing each other. Now, I don't want anybody to tell me that there isn't a solution, because you are in the driver's seat. You are very much aware of what is happening. You are privy to certain information that is not within the reach of ordinary citizens. And therefore, as ordinary citizens, we don't have certain intelligence in terms of information from the police, sensitive and critical information from the police on the source of those problems, and how they can be seriously tackled, and the legislation that should be enacted. And so sometimes we do not have the critical information, and on that basis we cannot make informed discussions and decisions with regard to how we tackle the scourge. But it is for the leaders, those people who are elected, to deal with this, come up with the answers to this problem, and stop saying that we have a crime pandemic. In Trinidad is the same thing. In Jamaica, we also have crime in a number of other Caribbean countries. Let us look at it from our perspective, from our shores, how we can protect our borders, and what are the things that are peculiar to St. Lucia that need arresting. And so our NewsSpin question of the day: why are murders no longer an issue in St. Lucia? Somebody says, there's still an issue for those who care, and hopefully we're not becoming like that. Victims who have developed immunity to abuse, they no longer recognize it. Another person says, what we plant is what we harvest. Another person comments, don't you remember when the Prime Minister asked the media to stop reporting on crime? It is all about PR for this government, so they are deliberately underreporting murders to create the illusion of less murders. Another person says, because we have them in high places. Let us continue to go through some of your comments. Murders are an issue to each and every caring St. Lucian. We are just so traumatized by it happening on a daily basis, with nothing drastic being done to the perpetrators. Another comment, because SLP can't govern. Another one says, because NewsSpin chooses to focus on Dennery Carnival instead. Now that is an absolute lie. I don't think we have really even focused on the Dennery Carnival, as has been done by a number of other talk show hosts. I mean, just Wednesday of this week, I focused on this situation over in the Mabia Valley. I had a guest. But on NewsSpin, we have not allocated a lot of time to this subject. Another person says, people have gotten used to it. Another one, a murder is an issue if only it's a so-called high-class resident or high-end business facility. Then you will be issued with warning how to report it. Facts. Another one says, the Prime Minister says, crime is happening in every country, so don't panic when St. Lucia is having crimes. And finally, good question to ask Shas. Why should we have to ask the leader of the opposition such a question? Is he the Prime Minister of St. Lucia? Maybe as far as some of y'all are concerned, Alan Chastanet is still the Prime Minister of this country. He is not. He is the leader of the opposition, and he is the MP for Micoud South. He doesn't make critical decisions that would affect me, that would affect you, that would affect anyone in St. Lucia. He is not in the driver's seat. Those people in the driver's seat, you have the driver is the Prime Minister. On his bus, you have several passengers. His co-driver is Dr. Ernest Hilaire. The other passengers, you have Stevenson King, Castries North. You have the Castries Central MP, Richard Frederick. You have the Ancillary Canneries MP, Wayne Girard. We have a number of other individuals in that bus. So blame those people. They are in the driver's seat. They are responsible, and they should be answering certain questions particularly as far as crime is concerned. But not Alan Chastanet. When he was the Prime Minister of the country, we could have posed this question to him. We could have attacked him, criticized him, etc. Hold his feet to the fire. But not now, considering that he was booted out of office in 2021. And up to now, many people are continuing to remind us that he lost the last general election. And nothing wrong with that. It only proves that we should not be posing those questions to him. Let's take your calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Good afternoon to you, Kimani.
Good afternoon to you, Tim. We have some comments in the chat room. Someone says, Tim, the government is a joke. Went to the passport office this morning from 7:20. At about 8 to 8:30, I saw workers coming in and out of the place, even an inspector. Only to find out from asking a worker, what is the problem? His response was, we're not working today. SMH, are we serious in 2023? Tell the persons in charge, stop skirting around and give us quality service. Another comment, Tim Spider was not specifically referring about the crime. He was referring to the crime curfew. Someone said, Tim, you could explain it how you like, but Spider is telling the truth.
No, I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. He's definitely speaking the truth. But he was also part of government. He was a senior minister. I'm just saying that he also had his opportunity. I'm not saying he didn't play his part. He also had an opportunity to tackle the crime problem at some point in time. He's not an ordinary citizen just complaining about the crime problem. You understand?
Another comment, someone says, Blessed Father's Day to you, Tim, and all fathers are alive. God's blessings and health and strength. Someone says, Tim, wait and see. We will have an outbreak of government. Someone says, Tim is dressed in military like the Ukrainian president, ready to take them on. Head on, lol.
What an observation. I mean, when I decided to put this t-shirt today, I never had any kind of revolution in my mind, you know, or anything of that nature. I'm not that brave, you know.
Someone also said they liked your shirt.
All right, thank you so much.
Another comment, Tim, Friday's NewsSpin should be 30 minutes longer to hold us for the 2 days weekend without NewsSpin. I definitely do not agree to that one.
Well, I can agree on one count, right? The managing director is there. Mm-hmm. Just give the 3 people who are working on NewsSpin an extra what? The producer $300 extra. Mm-hmm. You
$500 extra.
No. It's like $200, and I'll take $500. So that's like $1,000 extra.
But that is all in the chat room.
Your calls once again 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. WhatsApp message, somebody says there, what does CID really mean? I mean, you have a guy going to a staff party. What does that say? Go and get it, good drink away, dance and enjoy. Yes, on living to get hot. Unfortunately, something bad happened in your face here. And I really don't understand this message. Anyway, let's go to somebody quite controversial. Very often we don't understand what he says, but you know, we agree with him sometimes, we disagree. Very controversial. Mr. Bermuda, good afternoon to you, sir. Hello?
Who's that very controversial? Who's that very controversial, Tim?
I said Nushan who lives in Bermuda.
There are many over here, you know.
That's why I'm saying a
There's
St.
over
Lucian.
200.
That's why I'm saying a St. Lucian who lives in Bermuda.
I just said that, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this to you. There's a lot of Bermudans that listens to you, you know.
Okay.
And one told me something that I didn't like about you. I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I defended you. You're going to pay me. I defended you. I said, no, I don't think so.
That's one attorney I cannot afford.
They told me that you really moving to the SLP side. That you really taking up sides. They think that you're getting paid.
Let me tell you something,
Right?
Caller.
I said, don't think so.
Let me tell you.
Huh?
I am not on the side of the UWP or the SLP. But I could tell you that the SLP does not want me in their camp.
But let's
I
talk
don't
here.
think
Let's talk.
I don't think also the United Workers Party would want me in their camp as well.
Okay, let me say this, let me continue. Just thought I should let you know. There's over 200 solutions over here, okay? I'm not the only one over here. And they have them, most of them are married to Bermudans, okay? That's for the record.
Are you married to a
Okay.
Bermudan?
So
Are you married to a Bermudan?
Tim, I'm married to 3 Bermudans.
You know why? One of them could not tolerate you, not one alone. You know, you need 3
I'm
women
a
in your
Muslim.
life.
I'm a Muslim. I got up to 7.
Okay.
I'm a Muslim.
All right. Why you really
Yes.
called? Enough with the small talk.
What's the name again? Kamani.
Kimani, yeah.
Stay close to Tim, man. That your spine is who keeping the show alive. Because his show is dying. Tim, your show is dying for true, you know. This is a joke. People tell me things. We continue. Tim, I heard the first minister yesterday telling solutions to behave themselves when they go abroad. But what you're telling solutions is what they learned from him. That's what they learned from them in your assembly. That's what they learned from the Mongoose gang in your assembly. They don't set the example. They don't set the example, so you expect when the solutions and leave here to go abroad to set example, the young ones. Alpha, stop your noise, man. Tell that somewhere else, okay? Let me continue, Tim. You talking about yesterday? You tell me about show some respect to another member of the Mongoose gang, John B. Government, Hile. This man throw West Indies under the bus, throw St. Lucia under the bus in Dominica, and you tell me show this man respect? Tim, are you well? This man throw St. Lucia under the bus in Dominica. It happened in St. Lucia. So Adam Michael Shasta, I hope you're ready for him. Because we're taking him back to the Privy Council. This man do everything. Let me do the Tim. This man had Jafali, and Rover Gate, all kind of. You think we should respect that man, Tim? Tim, are you well? And Freddie people telling people, oh, I'm in a position now to come after them. He go after people. You go to. Shut up. Really? You're a joker. Okay? That's the kind of man you want me to respect? Men that got people that give people 2 pounds of sugar, 2 pounds of rice.
Cole, I never used the word respect. You described him as a loser, and I said, how can you describe somebody as a loser when they are the deputy prime minister of a country? That is far from being a loser, caller.
Ask Michael Holden. Listen, anybody can be a deputy prime minister when you join the Mongoose gang. Who in the Mongoose gang that's a leader? Tell me. Who in the Mongoose gang that's a leader?
The people
Tim, tell me who that.
The people of St. Lucia, they have made a determination. They made that determination
Who
in
that
2021.
Gang, who in that Mongoose gang could I as a St. Lucian abroad could talk about and be proud about? There's nobody that bogus gang join the government done. Let me say this to you, Tim. Like it or lump it. You see that man, Alan Michael Shaste? He is Mr. Sedlusha. Without him, Sedlusha, pas rien. I repeat, without the great man, Sir Alan Michael Shaste, Sedlusha is nothing. Sedlusha ain't going nowhere. Doom.
But what if he dies?
If he dies, well, the Lord knows when to take him. Lots of balls to replace. Lord knows when to take him. But for now, the Lord don't take him yet. Let me show you something. Everywhere he goes, he wins. People in the party challenge him. He beat them. He beat them up and throw them aside. People in the opposition, in the government challenge him. He beat them and throw them aside. He just threw them and just spit them out. No fuss. Calling people like Stephen the King dead weight. Let me continue. These guys writing budgets. The SLB bogus guy John Big Government writes budgets and goes to the house and cannot explain it. Cannot explain the budget. You know what explains it for them? Do you know what explains the budget for them? The great man, Sarah Michael Shaste. They ain't got a clue what they write. They ain't got a clue. Sedlusha cannot do without Sir Alan Michael Shaste. He is Mr. Sedlusha. Without him, Sedlusha is doomed. You can bring KLP, RLP, JLP, NLP, PLP. That's your business. They are doomed before that great man. Okay? Believe me, he is Mr. Sedlusha. Tim, have a nice day. And I'll tell you again, Bermudas are listening to you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay. So, hello to all the St. Lucia nationals who are living and working in Bermuda. Let me see if I have any of your messages via WhatsApp to go through right now. I do not usually waste my Thursday night listening to Richard Frederick, but for some reason I did last night. Tim, for the entire night, all I heard was Alan Chasney. He never spoke to the issue of crime, nor did he take the opportunity to speak directly to the young men doing all the killing. As I always say, you cannot tell somebody what they should address, a talk show host, what they should be focusing on their talk show. They make that determination. They have a producer. They have their own agenda, because we all, let me stress, we all have an agenda. It's what type of an agenda? Okay, so I don't think it's proper to tell people what they should be discussing on a talk show. You tune in, you don't like the content, you watch some other program. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone says, the leader of this government is the minister who is not the prime minister in the prime minister's office. Someone says, if he dies, his soul will continue the work. Another comment, Tim, because he is the deputy PM, he's not a loser. The one-eyed Jack is king among the blind. Another comment, Tim, we like you where you are, in the middle but close to the right. Timothy Poleon.
Whatever that means.
Another comment, we're talking about crime and criminals and what can be done about crime. What we're not talking about is the ones putting laws of the land. Putting laws of the land are all criminals. Another comment, Timothy, I hate to comment on your program because it's never read. However, this time I would like Rick to be knighted by the king, because without, there is a lot happening in St. Lucia, and thank God for Rick. So please knight Rick before he says goodbye.
So imagine we have to say good afternoon to you, Sir Rick Wayne. How does that sound?
That's a nice ring to it. Someone says, Kimani, tell the writer next time he goes to the passport office, walk with a briefcase. Only then he will be taken seriously. Let's see what else is in the chat room. So, Tim, Alan Chasney is the only topic every Thursday upon Thursday. Nonsense. Let's see. RF is obsessed with Shas, an unhealthy obsession. That's about it.
Thanks so much. WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
I just need Lucy Lake to clarify something for me, please. Both Lucy Lake and Wasco. I am not understanding the justification behind that. Persons have to provide land papers in their names before they can get a connection. What is really the liability to Lucy Lake for that?
Okay, I mean, A lot of unplanned developments take place, and that is what Lucilec and Wasco want to avoid. People just setting up a house or constructing a home on any piece of land. Sometimes they do not own the land, they do not own the property. I think that is what Lucilec and Wasco, they want to ensure does not happen.
Yeah,
so
but
some kind of regulation is taking place there. And more than that,
some kind of regulation.
and more than that, if the property does not belong to you, you could always get, particularly if it belongs to the state, you can get permission from your MP. Your MP can act on your behalf.
Yeah, so what if the land belongs to your great grandfather and he has died, and his oldest serving relative is 80 years without a will?
Well, that's the thing we have to guard against. We have a tendency not to prepare a will. We believe we'll live forever. Yeah. So that's very myopic. I think that's backward as well, our mentality. In St. Lucia, we don't leave a will. And then when we have a property after we die, then we have relatives fighting over those things. But anyway, that's a totally different issue. You're saying?
About 60 years ago, persons were rarely writing wills, Rarely writing wills over 60 years ago. And now for you to survey land at that time, lawyers take all your money, and every time they ask you to come back, they're investigating, and the investigation takes over 10 years. Would you wait for 10 years? And in cases where, especially that, you're not in a position to purchase any land.
Well,
my other query too is, it is not just the passport office in St. Lucia, well, a government office, that has a lot of issues in obtaining the proper documents. You go to any one of them, Inland Revenue, the Land Registrar, the passport office, so many of them, you do not get proper services. Even in the private sector, for example, every policy or almost all policies they put in place are policies that would impact the customer negatively. And we have to look at these things. Anyway, that's my contribution.
Okay.
Everything in St. Lucia is here.
Okay, thank you so much. Some people don't like it, but that's why we elect people to represent us. That's why we have a government, to ensure that issues, things that are impacting us, are attended to. You do not want to have log jams in your way on every occasion when you want to conduct certain businesses, when you want to undertake certain initiatives. There should be an environment created whereby things can be undertaken in a smooth manner as possible. There are just too many inconveniences, and people are not taking responsibility for the positions that they are given. Or maybe it's a case that they are not focusing on the customer, members of the public, whether it's in the private sector or whether it is in the public service. Too much time is being wasted at various government departments when you're seeking services from them. You need at least, 5 hours on any given day if you are seeking services from certain government departments. It ought not to be that way. And that is why maybe sometimes people opt not to go out there and renew their driver's licenses and to pay to get a sticker to put on their vehicle. They believe it's a waste of time. I mean, you could take your lunch hour to do something, but it is almost impossible for you to complete that task within a 1 hour period. And that is definitely unacceptable. And all those little things, that government ministers and governments need to look into. Kimani, you're raising your hand. You wanted to say something on this?
I know someone, she's been married for probably more than a decade now, and she hasn't gone to change any of her documents because it was just too much of a hassle. So just kept it that way. Someone in the chat room is saying, Tim, tell her issue is simple. Go to a reputable lawyer. I'd recommend McNara or St. Clair.
That person must be working with one of those attorneys. All right, with you to take a quick break. The broadcast will continue in just a moment with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says, stop this bickering and focus on more important things. NewsSpin is on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube, as well as the NewsSpin Facebook page. The Royal St. Lucia Police and Allied Services Credit Union Limited wishes to inform its esteemed members of its 49th annual general meeting on Wednesday, 21st of June 2023 from 10 a.m. It will be held at the Financial Administrative Building, Point Seraphin, Castries, under the theme Empowering Members Through Financial Support. The first 50 members will get a chance to win attractive prizes. Come discuss the business of your credit union.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland.
That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want.
Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of caring.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. NightMeds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Josh, so now that Mother's Day is taken care of, what about my gift for Father's Day?
But Dad, I just heard an ad saying that Europa is having another Kasha Day for Father's Day.
What? Are you serious? When? Where?
On Friday, June 16th. Yes, Kasha Day for Father's Day. Huge discounts on vacuums, pressure washers, upholstery cleaners, steam cleaners, I hear even on power saws, drills, compressors, and weed eaters.
And you not tell me that ever since?
Dad, they even have a free car wash by the ladies. Book the date, Dad. Friday, June 16th at Europa. Kasha Day for Father's Day.
Oh yeah. I not.
Happy Father's Day.
Message: shortage of yeast in supermarkets. Where can I get some, please? So if you have the answer to that question, please furnish it to us and we'll be relaying that information to that particular individual. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have a call. Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Shikem.
Hello?
You can hear me?
Yes, Rick. Or is it so, Rick?
I'll come back. I'll come to that. Tim, yesterday, I should turn it around. The lady who just called you there, was it a lady? I think it was?
Yes,
that
a lady.
She had gone to...
Lucilec and Wasco?
How do you know that's what I was going to talk about?
But that was the gist of a comment, a contribution.
Yeah, you had another caller before, after that. But you knew that was the one I want to comment on. I keep talking to you about rights and sovereignty and all those kinds of things. I became quite famous here for a statement I made when I started the store on my own. And it was that if you don't own your press, you're really not ready to take advantage of your freedom of speech rights if you don't own the press.
Yeah. I remember that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember that statement, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And so Compton said, you can talk all you like about sovereignty, but you sound like an idiot if you don't have what it takes to maintain yourself, or at least halfway, or if you cannot defend that sovereignty. If that sovereignty is dependent on the very people who say you can have it.
It makes no sense.
Well, that's how we live in this country. Now, yesterday I was talking to Nicole. In fact, we were from McDonald's, and we were kind of reminiscing about things back in the day. And for me, it was a number of memorable stories that fell, as it were, from heaven into my lap. It did not involve my going out looking, but it involved me confirming a lot of things.
It did not involve any kind of mud ricking.
No, what I mean by that is I least expected those stories.
Right.
Somebody from somewhere called me with a story, and an unbelievable story. And of course, it was then left for me to do the footwork and to validate everything I was told and to get the evidence supportive of everything I was told. But if I was not told the story in the first place, I wouldn't know about it. So I would go so far as saying 60% of the stories for which I am best known, I got that way. I hit upon accidentally. I would start reporting one thing, and in the course of investigating it, I would discover 3 or 4 other horrors. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the things that occurred to me when I was having this discussion with Nicole. And she said for her, it was something totally different as far as the star is concerned. What really sticks with her right now has nothing to do with those stories. I'm almost emotional talking about that. And I wondered why. And she said to me, Tim, what stuck with her were those people who were sitting downstairs at the Star, because you know our office is where it's from.
Waiting.
All with horrendous stories of abuse, rape, political victimization by corporations, and stories such as this person and Lucille. Now, I mean, this is providing every detail the person told you that is correct, because we must always take that into concern as well. And I have not seen those details, and you didn't really push her anyway. But Tim, have you ever heard, where you pay electric bills, have you ever been asked proof of ownership of your land or your home, or even that you're up to date with your rent?
No.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, but it's when you're starting the process, those questions are posed to you. It's when you are starting the process.
So when you were starting to get electrification for your place, you had to answer those kind of questions in the show.
You have to answer those questions.
Is that a fact?
It is. It is a fact.
Well, that job would not have been mine. It would have been other people.
Yeah.
My dear wife, for one. So I would have to do that myself. But something is very bothersome.
But for example, if you have your house on Crown land, right, land that is owned by the state, and you want to put electricity in your home, you must get some kind of approval from your MP. Your MP would have to intercede on your behalf.
But Tim, how can you build? How can Mr. Anybody go and build any kind of structure on Crown lands? And where are the Crown land protectors and the government and the departments that will not let you go and spend what you don't have?
But Rick, we know a lot of unplanned developments have taken place on the island. A lot of unplanned development.
I'm telling you about, I know that, and I'm telling you about the poor man. I'm saying to you, the poor guy. I don't like to go into this Maliwick syndrome. That's not what I'm talking about. But a poor person somehow manages to get some money together and build a little house,
a hut.
Why would that person be allowed to build that thing? There are authorities to see that this does not happen.
Okay. Yes, there are authorities, but what would happen? You build over a long weekend, right? And during that, over a long weekend, let's say Good Friday into Easter Sunday, Easter holiday, the Monday. Within that period, the authorities would not be out there, looking to see who is constructing a home, without permission from the relevant authorities. So by the time, but Rick, hold on, by the time it's Tuesday, you come there, the house has already been constructed. What do? Ask the owner to demolish it?
Well, you better get those people to go and build St. Jude.
That's a good one.
A good one, yeah. Because if we have officers and so on who can build an abode in a weekend, what's the excuse for St. Jude with 800 million? What's the excuse for that?
But it happens. It happens, Rick. It happens all the time.
Something is very, very wrong that a person obviously not of great means would want electricity in this day and age with the heat and lights and everything else and all the other threats, would have so much trouble just to connect get connection.
Mhm.
I don't know the details, and that's why I'm saying I don't want to say too much about that. But something is disturbing about that, and it reminds me of so many. Nicole is right. I mean, as far as she's concerned, that is probably what's most missed. That there was not a day when our front office didn't have a bunch of people. Some of them had traveled all the way from Beaufort and whatnot.
Now, you know why that happens, Rick?
Why?
The Star would have been a last resort. Okay? I get that kind of treatment as well. It's out of frustration, People who go to the MPs,
it's always last resort.
They would go to the police, they'd go to various authorities, various officials. And when they do not get any kind of redress, when the concern is being put on the back burner, when they are told to return, they say, boy, let me turn to the Star, let me turn to NewsSpin to see if they could embarrass the authorities.
Let me tell you what we used to do. I mean, I would ask the questions. In this case, I would talk to the person first on details, and if it was a matter of Crown lands, I'd have to talk to whoever's responsible. If it were not, I'd go on, and and those people were afraid of the bad image if they had in fact taken abuse a poor person or abused anybody. They couldn't handle the bad image. That went for the church as well, Tim. I have stories relating to some errant priests impregnating people and whatnot. I had those stories too. So, those people would come to me with every kind of story. And it's a shame that times have changed, and I don't know there's any way you can go. I mean, look at the story of the girl in was it Saudibus? Valinda Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
What's the final word on that story? A 13-year-old girl on her way to school is raped and all kinds of gramophone poured down her throat. Horrendous death. We stayed on that story, and the interesting part about that is when everybody else had forgotten it, the one suspect who was supposed to be a stepfather, that gentleman would come to our office periodically and go to Andre Paul as well, reminding us not to forget this story, to go after it. This is why I remain so suspicious about it, because the guy has not been convicted. You know that.
He has not.
He has spent.
What? He was released. What? He was released a little over a decade ago.
The guy was incarcerated for about 11 years, and then a group in Canada. And by the way, he was there because he couldn't afford bail.
Yeah.
Okay. So a group in Canada, some charity organization, after 11 years, raised the funds, and he got bail. And we were promised by the DPP's office, Tim, about 11 years ago, that in a matter of weeks, this guy's case will be taken care of, etc., etc., etc. It has not happened up to now.
His name is Eugene Saint Romain.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's guilty or not guilty, but I remember one doctor who was involved in the forensics telling me that the state had basically nothing by which they would convict this guy. But you know how political that Valinda Joseph case became.
Yeah.
You remember there was another Valerie Lord. 2 weeks before, her parents and whatever had been begging and talking about electricity, had been begging the government to put some lights along the way where she lived. Not in her house, the public lights. Some 2 weeks before, she was raped. I don't know if you remember how that ended. It ended quite controversially. And I don't know that afterward, the guy who was suspected, the guy who most people think did it, and I think in this case did it, but the case was screwed by the DPP's office, okay, at the time. And Marcus Foster represented it. You remember that? I don't even remember the controversial details of that, because you had in the square criers for justice and all those women, for one day. one-day criers for justice. And that guy, Titus Reynolds, eventually was, I don't want to use the word executed, but he was shot to death. He was shot to death in a certain area. And believe it or not, Tim, I heard the shots from my house miles away because somebody had, in a panic, a guy called me, said, oh my God, they're killing him. And that's how Titus Reynolds was executed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things, and our papers have nothing on that. We have all this information stuff. I'm lost for words. We have so many avenues for information. So we have so much in terms of forensics now and everything else, and we are miles worse backward than we were in that time, Tim.
We have not made any progress.
We have regressed, Tim. Regressed. So nobody is, I see now somebody, I don't know the story again. I'm about to let you go, get myself off, Tim. I know I don't want to stay too long. I noticed a police officer is threatening or has sued a citizen activist, whatever. I don't know what it was, the person who wrote. But I get very disturbed in our circumstances that when you speak out about the police, and put in some cases mentioning one, because if you know the police officers who were involved in the shooting of the 17-year-old boy, how long ago was that now? 4 years?
About 4 years.
If you know the police officers, because I think there were only 2, who were involved in that shooting, and you have a conscience, and you remember how much the mother and her family are suffering, and you know how lousy a job the DPP and our justice system have done in regard to this guy. They've shot, this guy has died worse than a frog, Worse than a frog, a 17-year-old boy. No reason given for shooting him, no pursuit of the case, no discussion on any show. All you hear on TV, on Facebook, on lives is garbage. More de-educating the people. But I spoke, the lady, one of the ladies at the tourism authority, I won't call any names, but you had cause to read something.
Yeah.
I was reminded, because I'd forgotten that, or maybe I didn't know, that she was actually the sister of a young woman who was killed in her house, a family home, in broad daylight, with construction workers outside, a note left on her chest. You got too much. All of those horror details, nobody
Unresolved.
Not even arrested him.
Also, I think former PS, is it Marcia Jules as well? Remember, she was murdered? Former permanent secretary, yeah.
Yeah, so many names. But unless I call you and regurgitate and stir up that swamp, Tim, there's no discussion on those things. And I warned you that it would not be long before people would be killed like roadkill on our roads and everywhere else without any outrage. We get used to it because the people who should be making the noise have long ago lost any conscience they have, feel that their kids are grown and their kids are safe and all that kind of stuff. But what about the media, man? For crying out loud. So when Nicole said that to me, and I heard this thing a while ago, I couldn't help but call you on that, Tim. Thank you for a long time.
Welcome, sir. Thank you so much. As somebody says, stop bickering and focus on more important things. That individual, Mary Francis, I spoke with her yesterday in case you missed it, and she was speaking on the outcome of that case which was brought before the Privy Council, defamation case, involving Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Deputy Prime Minister, and the leader of the opposition, Mr. Alan Shastney. In question would have been the use of either English law or statute or St. Lucia law to determine this matter. Let's listen to Miss Mary Francis.
stop this bickering in the house about this and about that and about things which are not really going to take us further. Bring in the special prosecutor and deal with it there. But all this quarreling in the house and all this type of thing, and then we have important things which have been left behind. You see, so now Mr. Ernest Hilaire will have to do what he has to do, and so forth. That is what I think is a very good judgment, and it's up to us if we want to remain in our colonial status, and then we blaming the English and blaming this person and blaming that person. We fail to do our work for ourselves as a lazy people.
When you announced that you'd finally gotten a lawyer to speak, I mean, I almost, with all my broken legs, I almost jumped to the sky in jubilation.
But they got a lawyer.
I'm coming to that. Little did it occur to me that you would be referring to
Miss Mary Francis.
Mary Francis as a lawyer. She is way above that, a lawyer. She's a savior for a lot of things. She fights for a lot of causes and everything. She just, en passant, is a lawyer. But to the thinking solution, Mary Francis, is a lot more.
Just Rick Wayne before him, Mary Francis. You're watching NewsSpin right here on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as on YouTube and listening to the broadcast on Power 97.9 FM. When we come back, our leaders.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to Streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
Pli meilleure manière pour entrer indépendant, c'est là où ka conduire un loto qui sa ou. Avec First Wheels Hot First National Bank, nous ka offert l'intérêt qui bien bas et nous ka prêter ou tout l'argent pour acheter l'auto depuis ou satisfait tout ça qui mérite. Vini indépendant et prêter l'argent Hot First National Bank pour acheter First Wheels. Visitez n'importe branche et bien couillez téléphone 455-7000 et 455-7117. First National Bank, here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
Treat yourself to KFC's new Genius menu. Get your choice of one-piece chicken, corn and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, fries and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, mac and cheese and biscuit for just $11.50. Order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400.
Or visit our website, kfcslu.com.
Or dine in at any one of our locations. Now that's a genius choice with unbeatable value. KFC, finger licking good.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarkets, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions, catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Josh, so now that Mother's Day is taken care of, what about my gift for Father's Day?
But Dad, I just heard an ad saying that Europa is having another Kasha Day for Father's Day.
What? Are you serious? When? Where?
On Friday, June 16th. Yes, Kasha Day for Father's Day. Huge discounts on vacuums, pressure washers, upholstery cleaners, steam cleaners, even on power saws, drills, compressors, and weed eaters.
And you not tell me that ever since?
Dad, they even have a free car wash by the ladies. Book the date, Dad. Friday, June 16th at Europa. Kasha Day for Father's Day.
Oh yeah. I not.
Happy Father's Day.
The government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, continues to provide more for pregnant women in St. Lucia. Through maternal and child health services under universal health coverage, pregnant women will receive laboratory and ultrasound services through community wellness centers island-wide at no cost. From care during and after pregnancy, vaccinations, family planning to nutritional and mental health counseling, we are here to support you. Take advantage of our weekly services at no cost. And from 1st June 2023, the addition of laboratory and ultrasound services will ease the pressure to aid healthier and safer delivery for you and your baby. Visit your nearest wellness center to register for universal health coverage. For more information, call 468-5300 or 468-5328.
Alan Louisi, who he had to flee from mutiny in his own party. Fortunate was he to find sanctuary, playing the minnows while exiled in Laborie. Alan Chassenay hands down won an election. The electorate bought into his vision. But as soon as his vision became blurry, in a hurry, he was dismissed with a flurry. They both won handsome mandates to lead, but sadly lacked the knack to succeed. One star, one touch, both of them out of touch. The country bled too much under their watch. Both Louisi and Chassenay found out the hard way. Once you cannot perform, The top not far from the bottom. So Philip, take your cue with what those two went through. Either shape or shit, if promises can't keep. Cause Lucian's the pen, and come and play who's your friend. Lay your way who head back, your guy face, your black hair. We play your power, your guy bow, but SBW, who your bow, why Lucian's that way? I can't really say. Take Osanu, yeah, it's in our DNA. Take Osanu, yeah, 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 that's how we stay.
Round of KPT performing the track Our Leaders. Now, you know, if we play Calypso on NewsSpin, it is a big tune. So I expect that TC Brown will go all the way to the finals. Who knows, he might win the crown this year. And we'll continue to play that track from time to time on the program. By the way, TC Brown, I'll be giving you a call very soon. I need a favor. So I suspect that's why I played a verse of his song, Our Leaders. By the way, this track, I'm told, was written by Suku. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Let's see, Tim. We have someone saying, it's true, Rick, and if the district rep don't favor you, no way will you get these services. Someone says, get the Kudme for the hospital. And I agree. Maybe we'll finally have a hospital in the south. Someone says, that man should have sued the government for being in prison. But again, Lucia don't have that kind of lawyers. Let's see. Someone says, this is St. Lucia waiting for something to happen for them to do something. Another comment referring to, I guess, the yeast problem that a caller mentioned. Someone says at Green Supermarket in Vieux-Fort. Someone says we have a shortage of everything. We have a shortage of brains in the government. Someone's asking, Tim, what's happening with the speaker? Can you please find out what is the decision? We would like to know. Another comment, you have to be calling any office in St. Lucia for days, weeks, months, and even years before you can get what you have paid for. Always an excuse. I'm tired of St. Lucian's policy. Tim, there is a serious problem with the banks. Also, when you go to the banks, they behave like it's a favor they're granting you. Most times you have 1 or 2 tellers serving at a time and it takes an eternity. I believe this is an issue that needs addressing.
Imagine somebody saying in the chat room, sing about PJP, Magie. It's a great track. All right, let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, team. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. How about you?
I'm good, and good afternoon to Kimani.
Hi.
You like TC Brown's track?
I'm loving it. I've been listening to the calypsos coming out. I'm not 100%, say it's better than last year, but I'm still listening.
Okay. By the way, that's Teddy Z. Performed several occasions during the Calypso competitions in St. Lucia. All right, Teddy, calling from where? New York, right?
Yeah.
What's in the mind, sir?
I was listening to your program and I was very touched by when Rick called because Valerie Lord, I went to school with her. We sat on the same bench, and she's been always in my mind, in my memory. And I actually wrote a song about her, I think in 97, around that time.
Okay.
No, not 97. Sorry, don't get me wrong. Cause I don't remember the day when she got killed and whatever happened. But she's always been on my mind. And when I heard Rick mention her, it brought me to tears. So I just wanted to call to express that expression today.
Yeah. Okay. Teddy Z, thank you so much for that call. St. Lucian has been living in New York for quite some time now. Yeah, Kimani?
It also brought tears to my eyes when Tim mentioned the situation. I did a little Googling and
when Rick mentioned
Rick.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I saw an article on Loop, and the part of the article said that Sergeant of Police Zachary Hippolyte recalled his last encounter with Lord, disclosing a secret for the first time that Valerie had asked him to walk her home that night, and in his youthful immaturity, he had declined. The subsequent guilt of which propelled him to join the police force. So I can imagine that night when she requested his assistance and, in declining and having to live with the guilt of knowing that, something else or the situation would have maybe been different. She wouldn't have died. But yes, I swear, every time Rick calls, it's always, I don't know, it's either he's making me laugh or tearing up.
Emotional, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Food Express for the yeast, okay?
Beg your pardon?
Food Express for the yeast.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages. I think we have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Let's get another call in line. Good afternoon.
Timothy, a pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW on the line, Timothy.
Good afternoon, caller.
Timothy, with all the crime that is happening in this country, I want to ask a big question. Do you know how many of our politicians are law-abiding citizens?
Well, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I'm not into law enforcement. I have not looked into the background of those people. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, really?
Yeah, so what is your point, sir?
Okay, Timothy, I'll continue, Timothy. Every effort must be made in the next general election to take the South Castries seat from Ernest Hille. Because if he wins his seat, the country will have to pay a heavy price with taxpayers' money, and our democracy and the rights of citizens will be trampled on. The MP for South Castries is one of the most cunning and unscrupulous politicians in St. Lucia.
Yeah, but I could allow you to say cunning, but unscrupulous, sir. We have to be careful, sir. We have to be absolutely careful. Let's not speak without any kind of evidence. Let's not speak because we have a particular perception of someone. We have to be very careful not to convict people in the court of public opinion, sir.
He will attempt to use his power we have given him to convince other parliamentarians to enact legislation to protect him and other MPs that have done the country a disservice. He has not answered pertinent questions that has ended him up in litigation, Timothy. And I can tell you the latest court decision is a testimony of what is to come for St. Lucians. If Ernest Hille is allowed to go ahead and to do what he is famous for doing, this country is going to go down the drain, and this country is going to be one of the most, I will say, one of the most unstable country when it comes to laws. When it comes to laws, Timothy, I believe that this country and the people of this country need to take a stand when Ernest Hille tries to dictate to us what should be law in this country and what should not be law. Timothy, I thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me see if I have any of your messages. The SLP government is not ready to govern because they focus on Chasney instead of the country and putting the people first. What a shame, especially Richard, how he and his those people sleep at nights. St. Lucian, open your eyes, don't be fooled, particularly the people in Miku South. Another one, so much for technology. Everything takes forever to obtain in government ministries in St. Lucia. The governor of the ECCB said that it should never happen where people have to wait more than a week to get any form of identification. Think we have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Hi,
Yes,
good
sir.
afternoon, Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, I finally got on Facebook to look because I usually listen to you on TuneIn, which you refuse to acknowledge. And then I saw Kimani, and she's quite pretty. I never saw her face before. So
Yeah.
I just thought I like to say that.
No, her head will get a lot bigger, caller. You shouldn't say that.
My forehead.
Your forehead.
It will get a lot bigger.
Yeah, she's
I heard her voice, but I usually listen via the app. I never really listen on Facebook. And then I saw her. I said, "Oh, she's quite pretty."
Yeah, quite pretty, and she has brain to go with the beauty as well.
That's I knew about the brain before,
Yeah.
but now I saw there's beauty to go with it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Tim, I spoke with a relative yesterday evening, and down the coast, and she was telling me about the sargassum. I thought that problem was taken care of already, but apparently it hasn't been, has it?
No, it hasn't.
The
And we're not the
Yeah,
only
because she
country.
was telling
We're
me-
not the only country facing this. I mean, parts of the United States,
Yes.
parts of the Caribbean, Jamaica, you name it.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned that is because I looked up and I realized it's a problem. They said it was coming. It's like 500 miles wide or whatever it is, so it's quite a chunk of space it occupies. But I'm not hearing anything about it. I'm hearing all kinds of stuff, not hearing anything about it. And the reason I say that is because she was telling me that people she knows that suffers from asthma and other breathing problems, they have serious problems. And she knows 2 young children had to go live with their grandmother in another part of the country because their eyes were running and all kinds of things were happening to them. And she mentioned to me, I don't know how scientific that is, how true, it affects the crab population in Palmis, in Poleon, all these places. It affects the mangrove. And so I did a little research and I realized it does it does affect the
Marine life.
ecosystem quite negatively. Yes.
Okay.
It even affects the mangrove. You know, I heard about it, but you know, you hear the thing, they're dealing with it. And then when I did a little digging, I was like, this thing is really, really bad for the environment when it hits the shore like that. And we don't seem to be hearing anything happening to it. She also told me there were a couple of St. Lucians who seem to have had studied it overseas or studied it wherever, and they came up with some solutions, brought it to the government, and the technocrats kind of put them or shoo them away and told them they will be dealing with it, or they're doing some stuff on it. So apparently there are some solutions in the works, or possible solutions, but they haven't been looking at it. I think we should put this thing back on the front burner since it seems to be so dangerous.
Yeah.
It also, from what I read, it also seemed to be damaging vehicles, computer systems, electronics, cars, motorcycles. So I think we should try to put this back on the front burner since this thing seems to be so toxic and bad for the environment, destroying the ecosystem and people's health and stuff like that. So I think it's something we should every now and then speak about and find out what is happening with that sargassum right now. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much for calling, sir.
Thanks.
Much appreciated. Somebody in the chat room says, the man even trying to yank to impress Kimani. That's not the case, obviously not. All right, on a more serious note, let's continue with your calls. 452-2979. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, good afternoon to you. Is that Miss Nancy Charles?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been a while.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to Kimani as well.
Hi, good afternoon.
Timothy, I know I have not called in a while, and I think the real reason has been is that I've been allowing for St. Lucians who are sort of not in the front row of the politics to air and to share their concerns, because sometimes it may seem that it's only us who are politically motivated, politically affiliated, are the ones calling and sharing what the issues and the areas of concerns are, and not St. Lucians, and so people may think that's just politics as usual. But I think one of your earlier callers this afternoon spoke to an issue that it just triggered something in me, and I thought that perhaps it's time that I call again, because your caller, it was the caller who spoke after the thing about the electricity. and spoke about the fact that every government agency that you go to, there's some sort of a delay. You remember that call?
Yes, I can recall, yes.
Right. And I think when the passport issues started getting out of control, it reminded me that St. Lucia is becoming like, and it's unfortunate, but St. Lucia is becoming like certain countries that we had been talking about in the past about how things are happening in those countries, etc., etc. And St. Lucia is becoming like that. And I just want to share very briefly, it's my experience taking my daughter to school in Jamaica to get her settled into the system, etc., and so forth. And whilst I do have some friends who are high up the ladder, I thought that, them letting me know what the processes are, etc. Let me go through the proper channels to get her settled in, get her documents, and so forth and so forth. And Timothy, at every single step of the way, I just couldn't get through. You go to those lines and you see the frustration. There is no process in some cases in these places. And so you always have to end up calling somebody to say, can you do this for me and can you help me out there, etc., etc. And St. Lucia has gotten to that point to me and even beyond, Timothy. The level of frustration that ordinary St. Lucians face on a daily basis just to get the basic things done in this country, it's unheard of, it's unbearable, and I have to be politically correct. I don't think this thing started just 2 years ago because Labour Party is in power. I'm not going to blame the Labour Party. This thing has been going on for a while. But I do have to say that it has escalated to unbearable levels at least in the last year. That people are just beyond frustrated. People don't know where to go. People don't know where to turn to. And I mean, you have a lady who's been calling. I think she did call a while ago with reference to the passport office. Timothy, are you telling me that for the last month, I think from last year, that lady has been kind of like your passport office reporter, if I can call her that?
No,
yes?
I don't think she didn't call, huh? She didn't call today.
Okay, maybe. But you know who I'm talking about. This
Yes.
is the lady who keeps calling on a weekly basis, giving you updates, sharing with you what's been happening at the passport office. Are you telling me that the Minister for Home Affairs or National Security, whoever is responsible, have not been hearing? Because they listen to your program. When you say something, when you, Timothy, say something that is against the government, they're quick to respond, because so that says they're listening. But when the citizenry speaks about those issues, when a St. Lucian calls and share what their concerns are, I said to a friend of mine, the mentality of the government is backfill. It's something we say in Creole. You can talk all you want, I don't care. Nobody responds to the concerns of the citizenry of this country when you call about an issue. And then when they do respond, it's some BS that they give you. So I listened to Miss Poyot and her response with reference to the passport office. Timothy, everybody can tell you that the issue for us St. Lucians is not about a private person opening her business, and I think we've made that very clear. The issue is, how is it possible that somebody who is a third party, who can apply for a passport on my behalf, can get it in 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, and I will apply for a passport or a renewal, and I cannot get it in 2 weeks, I can't get it in 4 months, I can't get it in 1 month, and it's gotten to the point, Tim, if you want a renewal of your passport, do you know that you can't pay for an emergency anymore?
Yes.
If you have to pay for an emergency, you have to do one of two things. You have to show that you have a doctor's paper that warrants an emergency you need in a passport, or you have to show a ticket, a traveling ticket. And so it's another racket that will be going on again, because people what they will do, if you need your passport, you'll go to your travel agent, make them print a ticket for you, pass a little bug along their way, bring it to the office so you can. I mean, is that what we have been reduced to in this country? It's shameful. It's very, very shameful.
To be continued. To be continued, Ms. Charles, because time is very much against us. It's already 2 o'clock.
I will call next week, because I really do want to speak to the issue of crime and the issue of the universal health care that the government is calling about. But next week I will call. But thank you very much, Timothy, and I hope you have a good weekend and a good weekend to your callers as well.
You as well. Thank you so much. Let's hear from the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros And he's visiting Trinidad and Tobago. One of the things he addressed yesterday during a press conference is the International Accord on Pandemic Preparedness and Response.
Just over a month ago, I declared an end to COVID-19 as a global health emergency. Although the emergency is over, we still have the virus around, so we need to continue to be vigilant. So we must be ready, and we are the generation that lived through COVID-19, so we must be the generation to learn the lessons it taught us and make the changes we need to keep ourselves and each other safer. One of the most important ways countries are doing that is through the negotiation of a new international accord on pandemic preparedness and response. An accord is a pact between nations to work together for a shared response to shared threats. Unfortunately, there has been a significant amount of misinformation and disinformation about the accord, with some people and media saying that countries will cede sovereignty to WHO and that the accord will give WHO the power to impose lockdowns on countries. Let me say clearly that this is simply untrue, and it's fake news. WHO will not gain any power to override domestic policy decisions, nor would we want to. The pandemic accord is an agreement that's being negotiated by countries, for countries, and will be implemented by countries in accordance with their own national laws. I thank Prime Minister Rowley for his support for the accord, and I encourage all small island developing states to engage actively in the negotiations and make sure that their interests are represented.
Quite a controversial subject. We will be exploring it and discussing it at some point in time. Dr. Tedros of the World Health Organization speaking in Trinidad this week on the International Accord on Pandemic Preparedness and Response. Finally, our NewsSpin News of the Day. NewsSpin News of the Day. Russia offers bonuses to soldiers who destroy U.S. and German tanks in Ukraine. Russia offers bonuses to soldiers who destroy U.S. and German tanks in Ukraine. That's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the program during the course of this week. God willing, I'll be back on Monday afternoon, same time, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin. Here's hoping that you'll have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.